This video is by a vlogger by the name of Zach Wicasa. Wicasa, South African. I'm subscribed to his channel. Is one of the people I watch to see what's going on in Africa. When I say what's going on in Africa, um, he talks about events that the normal person don't really talk about. African. The normal African don't talk about. But he is a growing. He's I don't know. I started watching him a couple of years ago. That's actually when I was in Gambia. I came across him. He was new to YouTube, and I started watching him to see how he's progressing. Because he put up one video that sparked my interest in him. He was the first one I saw about the money that was buried in the president of South Africa's um, farm. The million, I think it was $4 million that he had taken from his Indians, to the corrupt practices that you see around Africa. Anyway, I've been watching him ever since, and sometimes he put up some very good videos. This one is a good video. I would like you to go and watch it yourself because it talks about things that I told you about, how corrupt the African leaders are, and how we are. We've been talking about this Africa 2063 for years. And we talk about the year of return and thinking that something good is going to come from that. Nothing good comes from the people that you got in power in Africa now. If you look at three young men in the Sahel who trying to change the way things are done in Africa, and you see these old African leaders attack them, and they gather their European handlers from everywhere that they can, trying to force these three to abandon the task of doing better for Africans, for their own people. Just the other day, the AU talking about, you know, they suspended him from the AU. It's unimaginable. You cannot make this stuff up. You write a fictional tale about this. It's unbelievable. African leaders, the most wicked. I mean, a lot of people don't study history of Africa. And when I say the history of Africa, I'm talking about African leaders, not the Africa. Right? Not the land. A lot of good things happen in the land. But you got these, slavery didn't happen in a vacuum. And it couldn't happen unless the African leaders went along with it. Anyway, go watch the video. Please, I'm begging you, go watch this video. I also encourage you to let your, I don't know, fellow diasporans watch this video. Israelis, they're not the only ones building in Africa. The last place I went to in Africa is Gambia. Between the Saudis, the Lebanese, UAE, and Turkey, Gambia is owned. They build a mosque here and there, pass out some money to the leadership wherever they build the mosque. And I mean, the country is held in perpetual degradation. Serious. Not allowed to develop. Not allowed to develop. Why? Leadership. I remember one Gambian telling me that before I arrived in Gambia the first time, they were going to, the roads that they're building now, the highways that they're building now, were going to be built. And everybody was so excited about it. Well, I got videos made about that. I bought some land in Bigelow. They say, yeah, this road is going to be built next year. That was 2009. 2010 came. They would say, oh, yes, it's going to be built next year. 2000 passed. 2010 passed. It's going to be built next year. The government got the money. But guess what? Former president pocketed it. Him and his gang. 5 years later, the UN came in and said, hey, we're going to build this road. The money disappeared again. This time around, when they were going to hold the Islamic conference, and the Islamic conference people said, no. We're going to get our own people. They hired Europeans now. They bought in the equipment from Lebanon. Imagine that. Lebanese came in to build the road. And still, money from the project was still disappearing. And I told you about that. I showed you how the materials, you needed materials to build a project, and the materials that they were using was far below the quality of materials that should be used. And one of these so-called engineers even came in talking about the video that I made. He said, how can somebody like you talk about it and you're not an engineer? I am an engineer, and this project is very well funded, and we are using the right equipment and we're using the right materials. No, you're not. I could be putting a flyover, you building pylons with number 10 steel rods in it, when you need at least 18, 20. Need 1-inch steel rods at a minimum. But the Gambians like their road. It looks not new and pretty. Who am I saying they're wrong? But they voted for it. And in Kenya, they voted for the leadership in Kenya, who is doing this right now. South Africa, the same thing. All over Africa, you're hearing how the Israelis are moving into northeast Africa. The Turks got bases there. UAE got bases there. You know, look at. Please go watch the video and help other people who are thinking about moving to Africa understand what's going on there before they get there. And then when this thing sets off the real when this thing sets off the real uprising, guess who's going to get blamed for it? Guess who is like what happened in Rwanda? You remember Rwanda? You should study it, and you see what's going to happen across Africa. What happened in the in EAS? in AES, sorry, those guys did a magnificent job in keeping the people from taking the former leaders out and hanging them. Serious. They refocused the people's minds on rebuilding the country instead of punishing the people who were destroying it. It ain't gonna happen when things break out. And if you are seen as one of the people who helped the leadership, guess what's gonna happen to you? When people in Africa get hungry, you're the one who's got what they need to get food. You better know this stuff. Better know this stuff. Peace.